All right, welcome to another episode of the Bulldog Bark. I'm yours truly, the Guru. With me today, I got a couple partners in crime. We got BFC, Butler's Fighting Crew, and MD the Dream, Michael D. Rosa. All right, boys. So, Kyle, Butler fan, obviously. I left that out. Yeah, he's not here. He has a night class. Sorry. That's what I was saying. Part of the crew, not the whole crew. But all right, boys. So, hey. After four straight losses and looking like we were about to just, fall off a cliff, Butler turned around and had the, former top 25 upset on the road over Seton Hall, which was an obviously massive win for many reasons. One, to get you off the schneid. Two, is their first true road win. And three, it was a top 25 opponent. So, that's those are some good vibes. Then we came back home and we took care of DePaul, 87-80. So Butler's riding a 2-game winning streak up to 12-7 overall, 3-5 in the Big East. Funny thing is, with the Big East, we're actually came out of 5th place. So with a perfect opportunity tomorrow against Marquette, who is currently 7-13 and 2-7 in the Big East, coming off a win against Providence. But a chance to get to 4-5 tomorrow. So make sure you get to Hinkle tomorrow. It's the checkered flag day, boys. So make sure you check your seats. See what color you are. They are going to be giving out bandanas. Exciting. I'm going to be twirling that thing like crazy. That thing's going to be used. Let me tell you that much. So I think I'm assuming those are going to be by color, right? Like by your section. I would assume, right? Yeah, that'd be really funny if it wasn't.
Actually, they're just going to be purple. They're just going to be
purple. Or just put like the whites and the blues and just completely fuck with us. But no, I'm assuming but good. You get some bandanas and all that stuff. So get to Hinkle tomorrow. I know it's gonna be cold. It's our first. I was saying this in the group chat, boys. It's our first weekend night game since IU Indy. How insane is that? First weekend night game. All their games have been noon tips or 2:00 tips, and on the Saturdays the last weekend night game we had was IU Indy, which was our second game of the season or whatever it was. Yeah. So I'm expecting Hinkle to be. I know it's gonna be freezing cold tomorrow, but hey. We haven't had a night weekend game in a long time, so I'm expecting Hinkle to be at least a little rowdier. Again, everyone gets a Hinkle, but enough of that. So let's recap this week, boys. So like I said, we got two big wins. We got Seton Hall. We beat them 77-66 on the road, and then DePaul at home 87-80. Michael, I'll pass it off to you first. What are your thoughts on this past week of Butler basketball?
Yeah, the first thing I wanted to was just off the intro. Actually, I don't know if people know this, but BFC, it's actually multiple people. It's the fighting crew. It's just multiple people. Yeah.
That's a fact, yeah.
So it's really, we don't know which member of the BFC we're getting until we show up here. It's actually kind of electric.
He's actually just a man with like 2 heads. He's got the whole crew, man.
No, but I'm not gonna lie. There are very few times like a team like wins a game and I'm like completely like stunned. Like I did think we were gonna lose to Virginia, but like the way that game was going, it's like, yeah, we hit shots, like, anything can happen. I was stunned we beat Seton Hall. I didn't see that coming at all. And it was the zone defense. I didn't think there was any chance in the world they would look to go to that 1-3-1, but they did, and Seton Hall had no answer to it. That is the one game in a long time Butler has won with defense. And I mean, look, no complaints here. They won a game, right? Like, that's awesome. And Finley's gotten going lately, which has been great. But the guy for me who has stood out, and look, he's always going to be hot and cold just because it's the nature of a freshman point guard. But over the last 2 games, Dink Robinson has 27 points and is averaging 4.5 assists. So 13.5 points, 4.5 assists a game. He's been terrific. 2 steals in that stretch per game, too. Like, he's played his best basketball, and it is pretty clear. Coach Mata said this at the post-game presser of the DePaul game. But yeah, it's very clear this team missed him because he was not healthy whatsoever in the Xavier game. He was battling the flu. And yeah, like I don't know if they end up winning that game with him, but regardless, I think he's been terrific in this little stretch. I thought, like, you've really been able to see the growth of Stink Robinson. He's getting more minutes, and it's really allowing him to shine. He's not a perfect player by any means, but they're definitely going to need him going forward. And in these 2 games, he was terrific. I don't think Butler wins either of them without how good Stink Robinson was, especially against the pressure of Seton Hall. And like Bud Clark was really up in his grill, and a lot of Big East point guards have folded to that, and Stink Robinson didn't. Like
zero turnovers against SetonAll. 0 turnovers as your primary point guard against the team that had the #1 steal rate.
Yeah,
in the country.
That is insanely impressive. Like that won us the game. He was excellent.
Yep, and I agree. Like I think one of the tough things in with Jalen Jackson going down is there's been kind of that point guard by committee, and I kind of love this idea that like you just Yeah, like Stink is gonna have, like you said, growing pains, but I almost like this idea of just let him play through it a little. Just let him play through it. Like I think he's a guy that's gonna vibe a lot better if he's like you said, 27 minutes per game, 29 minutes per game, and I think that keeping him in the flow of the game, I think is huge. Like you were talking about, yeah, 9 assists to two turnovers the past 2 games. He's been absolutely huge. So I agree with you 100%. Big part of the good week we just had. BFC, how about you? Your thoughts on the past week of Butler basketball?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that Stink was the guy that really stood out to me. Going into that Seton Hall game, I was just kind of joking around with my friends. We were trying to set the over under on just team turnovers. All kind of sad after the 4 game losing streak, and we were way off. I mean, they locked in, and I think he was obviously a huge part of it. You could kind of see that the press break a couple times was just get it to Big Mike, and he would kind of do the rest, which worked. I
Yeah.
mean, he's tough to kind of get the ball off of. So I didn't necessarily hate that of kind of letting it be a point forward to get into the offense and then let Sting kind of take over once you get past half court. Um, I think that actually makes a lot of sense because obviously as a freshman guard, he's never dealt with that type of pressure before. In high school ball, even the Indiana teams that are pressing, he was the clear cut best player on the court, kind of no matter who he was playing. But yeah, when you're going up against Bud Clark, and you could tell he was kind of pissing him off, and I think Stink plays better when he's got an enemy on the court. I've kind of seen that he likes an adversary that he's going at and getting very competitive with, which I think we really saw against Seton Hall. And then just kind of diving into the DePaul game, I think that was kind of an interesting one because they came out. It was like a little bit sleepy, coming off a good win, and they didn't get off to a great start. That kind of first 15 minutes of the game, they were just kind of treading water. I don't think they ever got down by more than like 8, but still, I mean, getting down by 8 points to DePaul at home is not something you want to see. Um, but then they just locked in, and I thought everyone played pretty well. That played good, significant minutes. Haywood obviously went out of a cold stretch that he's probably never had in his entire career. I think he had missed like 18 threes or something. Um, so getting out of that stretch was huge. He knocks down a couple and played well on defense too. I know they were kind of joking about it in the press conference, but I think that he looked really locked in at other phases of the game where, maybe last year if he knows his minutes are limited and he's missing shots, he's just kind of hunting to try and see one go in. But I thought he played really well on all phases of the game. And I mean, Ajayi is just you can't really put into words. I mean, he was incredible in both games and was not at 100%. He was sick in both games. And I just think his presence in the game was just when the other guys are playing well, I think it really shows. Obviously, he can be just dominant, like against Xavier. We lose, but he was the best player on the court. He had 23 and 15 or whatever, and was phenomenal. But when other players are playing well, when Finn's knocking down shots, when the big guys are playing well, which they did in both games, I think it really shows how good he is because then he's kind of he can conserve his energy a little bit and just dominate on both ends. So yeah, I mean, we needed that 2 game stretch. Now we got to take care of business tomorrow. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But if you go 3-0 in this game, or in this little stretch here, it really kind of reopens the season and kind of re-engages Butler in some conversations. It opens the door to get back where they wanted to be after the 4 game stretch. I mean, if you told somebody, all right, we went 3-4 in that stretch before, they wouldn't say it's the complete end of the world. It's just odd if they go 0-4 into a 3-0.
Yeah, and I think I mean we've talked about a lot of people, but I don't think we've emphasized enough Finley. Like he's played great these past 2 games, especially offensively. We know this. Like when he's on, it's a whole different team. I mean, for the past 2 games, both games he went 7 for 11 from the field, went 4 for 7 from three against Seton Hall, and then 3 for 6 against DePaul. I mean, again, like when he's hitting, it opens up for everybody else. So it's good to see him get his, because I mean he went from like that first 10 games to being like unstoppable to, I mean, he just really fell off fast. So good to see his confidence back, because I think obviously we need him. We need him to play well. We're not going to survive. Our defense is never going to be good enough, so we need to have some sort of offense to make up for that. So it was great to see him balling out, playing really well. So yeah, no, like you said, BFC, it does definitely. I know Michael loves when I say this. It puts you in position. We're 50th in net now, so we're 50th in net, mid 50s in KenPom. I don't care what people say. It's going to be a hard route, but it is not over. Like, it's just not. I almost am fearful that people are going to become like super apathetic because of the presence online and us all being like, oh my gosh, the world's crumbling, and then you like look at it and you're like, you win a big game here or there, and all of a sudden you're still around there. So I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not, Michael. I'm looking at you. I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but it's still there. And so, and like you said, BFC, if we win tomorrow, you're sitting 4 or 5 in the Big East. Let's miss that Wednesday Big East tournament game, huh? That'd be nice not to have to play on Wednesday. And I think it also shows, one last thing I'll add, then we'll talk about the Marquette stuff. But on KenPom, Butler. Now, let me also say, you have to win some. Like the 4-game stretch we lost. That's why the Seton Hall game was so big, is because they're still technically like metrically one of the top teams in the Big East. That's why it was so big. But we still got to pick off some of these guys at some point. Like I know we have St. John's on the road. That's going to be a super tough one. We got Villanova on the road, super tough. UConn comes back to Hinkle, super tough. We got Creighton at home. I think we could maybe get that one. But you got to still pick up some of these games. That's what was so disappointing about that 4-game stretch. The Seton Hall one obviously being the big thing. But in KenPom, we have played the second hardest strength of schedule. And the reason that this actually matters is because Butler is actually in the middle of the Big East, meaning that usually like UConn's, I think, is like 11th out of 11. That makes sense because they are the hardest team. So when you play them, your strength of schedule is going to be way harder. Butler's a second. It was first before DePaul, meaning basically it's significant because we're ahead of a bunch of the bottom teams, meaning we should be boosting their strength of schedule, but yet ours is still higher. Does that make sense what I'm saying, right? So like it is significant. If we were in last place and we had like the first overall strength of schedule, I'd be like, well, that makes sense if we were metrically last. But so what I'm trying to say is, yes, we have some chances, BFC, like you said, to get on a roll here, and it all starts tomorrow. We already started a little bit, but another big one tomorrow against Marquette. It's a Q3 game. Thank you for not being Q4 anymore, Marquette. Q3 game in Hinkle Fieldhouse, 8 p.m. Again, everyone get there. Michael, I'll start with you. Kind of break us down this Marquette Golden Eagles team and what we can expect tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think Marquette is a relatively simple team to break down, at least in our sense. They run generally really good offense. They get a lot of looks right at the rim, but they're bad. They miss a lot of those looks. They're getting really easy looks. This team just isn't talented enough to finish them. They don't have a true inside presence. Caden Hamilton was a guy they ran at the 5 a lot. They've slowly waned him out of the rotation for good reason. They run Ben Gold a decent bit at the 5. He's been fine this year. He's nothing like crazy, but like he's been fine. Then they run this Josh Clark kid. I believe he's been hurt lately, so I don't know if he's going to be back for this game. I don't know his status, but it's Nigel James. Nigel James is terrific. He's their freshman point guard. He's super quick. His jump shot has been falling lately. He shot 4 or 6 from 3 and just willing this team to win against Providence. I mean, he single-handedly put the team on his back. He had 38 points, 8 assists, just 1 turnover, shot 9 of 14 from 2, 4 of 6 from 3, 8 of 11 from the free throw line, and had 2 steals. I mean, he is terrific. He is their best player. The team will entirely run through him, and you have to find a way to stop him. Stink. I honestly think this could be a decent game for Fosis, particularly defensively, just because he's so long. And James is only 6 feet tall. He's really quick, but Fosis is also pretty athletic, and he's not like James isn't physically imposing anyway. He's just a really small guard with really quick hands, really quick shiftiness. He's awesome. He truly is terrific. And Chase Ross is a guy who he hasn't been the same guy he was last year, this year, but he is a guy who can just find it one day and just find a way to beat a team. So I would say those are the two that you really have to like key in on this Marquette team. The rest of them, they're going to run good offense. They're going to run some like fine defensive principles, but like again, they're just not super talented to beat you there. Teams have beat Marquette a lot on the glass. You can really really like get a ton of offensive rebounds. So if there's a way we're going to beat him, it's going to be Ajayi, even Traore, Jones, Kaiser, just attacking the offensive glass, getting quick finishes from there, and containing Nigel James in any way they can.
Yeah, and maybe something that a lot of Butler fans don't expect because of the past few years of Marquette basketball. They're actually
Yeah.
like really bad at defense. So
Yeah.
like they do, like you said, Nigel James is a baller, Chase Ross is a baller. Also to your point, they have not struck well. Like they are literally in 3-point percentage at 306th, 2-point percentage 256th, free throw percentage 311th, even worse than us, boys. Actually, we've been shooting better, but still worse than us. And then defensively, I mean, they don't do well either. They have a worse ranked defense than we do, which is it sounds weird to say after the past 4 years, but so I think this could be a high scoring game. We'll find out, but it seems like there's going to be a lot of points to be had. To your point, also, you said rebounding. They're bad at defensive rebounding, 285th in the country. So I think that's definitely somewhere that someone like Ajayi could definitely exploit them. But BFC, how about you, man?
Yeah, I think the one thing that I'm kind of looking out for, I feel like this may be, in terms of kind of how we're breaking up center minutes, a little bit heavier on Johan Traore over Drayton, just because Ben Gold shoots a lot of threes. He doesn't make a lot, but he does shoot a lot. And that's been kind of a bit of a holdup for Drayton. He's struggled against kind of the stretch shooter fives. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Johan kind of play a bigger role in this game, and he's been playing really well. So, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. And I also think that just skill wise, that's a bit of a mismatch. He's a little bit more of a score first five, and I think against Gold as well. There, I think that could be something that we try to exploit. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's pretty simple. I mean, Marquette is they're just not a very good team this year, but you got to be careful because they got some guys that can light it up. I think it's definitely a big test for the guards. We have to guard because obviously, I mean, and Chase Ross hasn't had a very good year, but I mean, he can still light it up. So I would look for Finn to really lock in defensively, even if it takes a little bit away from his energy on offense, because I don't necessarily think we need him to be launching, shooting a high volume in this game. I think that our bigger kind of driving players should look to get going a little bit. I'd love to see Jamie get going a little bit. The kind of the frustrating thing was, and I saw people talking online about it, and during the shooting slump, but he made so many great winning plays against DePaul. The shot's just not falling, but if he can get downhill, get some easy finishes, kind of see a couple go down, it's going to come back. I mean, he was barely hitting the rim early in the year, and he plays so hard, and he plays winning basketball. So I'd look to get him going, and I think it's going to be a big Ajayi and big man game. So if it really all comes down to containing two scorers for us on defense, and then just locking in and getting the easy looks that I know we can get against this team.
I will say just real quick, I think Jamie's probably our best off-ball cutter. I think he cuts to the rim the best. So I think that's another look you can get against this Marquette team.
Yeah, I was hoping they did that more against Xavier, and
Yeah.
I don't really know if that's like what happened with that, but like because against Providence, we cooked them like 20 times on that thing. I'd love to see more of that. And yeah, Kaiser, he's got the yips, man. He's got the yips. It's I think he's like 0 for like his last like 15 or something. Like I didn't count the number, but some margin on threes. But you're right, he makes all the winning plays. I love the energy he brings too. He's a guy that the minute I think it was like when we had that quick run in the beginning of the first half against DePaul, he was like screaming and animated. So you got to have those guys. Love it. I just don't think he's a huge glue guy for us. So if he finds a shot, that'd be great. We love that. But I feel like I had one more thing. Oh, I was gonna say, yeah, the other thing with Marquette too is, and that's just what's unfortunate about how like the non-conference went, is like they had a lot of like really close losses. Like a lot, like Oklahoma, they lost by 1. For some reason, Shaka just like doesn't know how to run a last second play. Like they are some of the worst. I'm serious. Like it's actually terrible. Like they've had like 3 opportunities with like last second plays, and I mean every one of them they didn't even get a shot off, and the other two just looked awful. Like it's like, but they almost beat Oklahoma, who's 62nd in KenPom. There's another one. Well, they were up on Maryland. Maryland stinks though, but they're up on Maryland. Dayton, who's respectable. I guess they lost to LaSalle yesterday, but they went to overtime. Overtime with them. What did you say?
They almost beat Villanova.
Almost beat Villanova. So definitely not a team you can just like overlook. Like they've competed with teams. If you want, they beat Xavier. We lost to them. Granted, they were home and they had a point guard, and we didn't that game, but still. I mean, if you want the closest thing recently, DePaul. We just played them. Obviously, they lost to DePaul by 5 on the road. If that's any indication of anything, it's not. But but you have to have it. You just have to have this one. That's the risk that we have right now. There's so many landmines, and that's kind of what I was saying about the non-conference. Is like, unfortunately, these are decent teams. Like, Marquette's not good, but like, they're not like a team that you can't just like play your C-level ball and just get by with it. That's not how this is going to work. So you still need to bring your A game. This is still a landmine that could easily explode on you. Don't be the one that does it. Don't be the Providence. That was so bad. That was like the worst end of game management I've ever seen in my life. But let's not be those guys. So, anything else you guys want to add on the Marquette game, or anything Butler related as far as it goes over the past week or anything like that?
Well, 2 things. One, you mentioned Kim English's end game management. They've played 4 overtime games this year. Do you want to know Providence's record on those 2 games?
0-4 in those. I'm seeing it right here.
0-4.
We were one of them.
Yeah, we were. We were the only double overtime game. And 2, actually, in conference play. Do you know who the best free throw shooting team in the Big East is, Guru?
There's no way.
77.5%. It's the Butler Bulldogs.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow. I knew we were shooting better, but what? Wow. Okay. Hey, shout out to Drayton Jones, by the way. That dude is like cash money from the line, I swear. Wow. That is that's good to know. And honestly, the 2 things I thought were going to kill us this whole year, which obviously is just defense, should have known, but I thought it was going to be free throws and turnovers. And honestly, both those things have trended in the right direction, which is, other than that St. John's game, obviously, but
yeah, they made 33 free throws against Seton Hall. That's how they won the game.
Yeah, and I mean, hey, I love all the other fan base. They're like, oh, they're getting all the calls. I'm like, no, we have a guy that is a absolute monster, because Ajayi gets half of those things, and like when you have a guy that does that. Also, like if you're a Seton Hall team and you play that physical, what are you expecting? You're just going to get 0 calls? I don't know, whatever. It's just
that drives me insane. When I saw Seton Hall fan, I was like, you run the most aggressive defense in the country. Like,
I saw a DePaul fan say that. I'm like, it was 31-21 on free throws, and at least 6 of those maybe had to come at the end of the game when they're just fouling us or something like that. I'm like,
DePaul what?
Yeah, so I saw a DePaul fan saying that the reffing was. I was like, what? That was definitely not so. Now, granted, I was about dead from the flu, but other than that,
I didn't know they had plural fans.
the DePaul fan. Yeah, but anyway, all right. So again, please get the Hinkle, everybody. I know it's gonna be freezing again. I'm just gonna keep saying it over and over again. This team is still alive, very much still alive, and we need to support them. I actually just saw one last thing. I saw a stat recently that actually I have to pull it back up. Actually, I think Harkins posted it in that new account that they have, Basket Under Review or whatever it is, and we actually metrically play worse at home, which I guess thinking on the games makes sense. You're thinking about our neutral wins, and even the SMU game, even the Creighton game was a 4 and a 2-point loss. We win at Seton Hall. So let's take care of home. So everyone gets a Hinkle, 8 p.m. tomorrow. Let's get loud, get rowdy, and let's get ourselves a 3rd straight W. All right, go Dogs.